Today we're going to take a look at survival in what my great-great-grandfather would have probably called a horseless carriage. Today we know it as the car. Now we're lucky today because most people have a car. Now if you're thinking about going out on a trip, you sometimes have a look at the weather report. If it says snow and ice, my advice is stay at home. But if you don't wish to take that advice, at least make sure you're prepared. Make sure your car's ready for winter. Ideally get it serviced. At least check that the oil's okay, check that the screen wash is topped up, and importantly check that your engine coolant has the right amount of antifreeze in. Fuel. Don't let it run low. When you're going on a long trip, if you run into difficulties, you have to make a diversion, you may need that extra fuel. If you get stuck for a long time, you're going to need that fuel to keep the engine running, to keep you warm, and it ain't going to do you a lot of good if you've let it run down to the minimum mark just before you leave home. Tyres, very important, especially in wintry conditions. Now these tyres, they're legal, they've got the minimum amount of tread on them, but in bad weather they're about as much use as a chocolate fire guard. I like the term as much use as a chocolate fire guard. A girl I used to know called Linda many years ago once said that to me. Now most people would have been scarred for life, but I don't know if it's because I like fires and I like chocolate, the whole sentiment just washed over me. Now if your tyres are in the same condition as mine, you need to think about changing them. Now thinking is what bureaucrats do. Bureaucrats were asked to think about a runway at Heathrow Airport 50 years ago, and they're still thinking about it. So stop thinking and sort it. Now if you happen to be unlucky enough to get caught in the snow, and you're having to wait for the emergency services to come and rescue you, always stay with your vehicle. It's going to give you protection from the elements, and it's an easier thing to spot for them. If you've wandered off somewhere into the snow looking for help, you're just a small speck in a big white landscape. So always stay with the vehicle. Now if you find yourself stuck in the snow, initially you may be able to help yourself. In the back of my car I've got a bag of salt, and I've also got a shovel. It's a small collapsible shovel. Packs away nice and easy, takes up very little room, extendable handle, just what you need. If you get out of the car, make sure you've got a high-vis jacket. Here I've got a padded jacket, it's going to keep me warm and it's high-vis. Footwear. I always keep a pair of good warm boots in the back of the car and some extra socks to put on. Something else you might also want to consider is always keep a little bag in there full of treats and sugary snacks, something to keep me going. And of course, importantly, gloves, hat and water. This is important. In bad conditions you could find yourself sat there for hours before the emergency services come. If you think the rock salt bag's a bit too big for your car, a bit too heavy for you to handle, you can also buy these. This is a tube full of salt and it sprinkles like a salt shaker. Nice and easy. The other really important thing I keep in is my sleeping bag. Now this is just an old sleeping bag this that I can leave in the back of the car and it doesn't matter if it gets a bit grubby. But in the event that you can't run your engine to keep warm, this is going to make you really comfortable. Now you might have thought about bringing yourself a flask, or if you haven't and you haven't got anything hot to drink, we come back to the bottle of water. I've got a small bottle of water, and so that I've got something warm to put into my body other than ice cold water, what I've done with my water bottle is I've popped it under the bonnet. while I'm parked there, it's sitting on the engine, and this is warmed up nicely. It's been there about 15 minutes now. It might not taste very nice, but it's better to put something warm in than something cold. Something else you could think of is if there's several of you in the same situation, get everybody into one car. All that body heat is better in one vehicle than scattered around individually in these cold tin cans. Another thing that's useful in your vehicle, first aid kit. But if you've got one, learn how to use the contents. I know people that sit on the toilet reading newspapers. I don't do that. This is what I read. First aid. Now they say a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous, but a little bit of knowledge is better than no knowledge at all. If you can tell the difference between somebody having a stroke and a heart attack, or you can spot the ongoing symptoms of hypothermia, you could probably save their lives, just with a little bit of knowledge from the book, first aid kit. It's all useful, but if you've got it, you've got to know how to use it. So, there we have it. You've got your de-icer, you've got your scraper, you're ready for the winter. What did Clarky do when he found himself stranded away from home in snowy conditions? Did he get in his sleeping bag and put his bottle of water under the engine to warm up? No, because he had one of these, credit card, and he booked into one of these. Couldn't afford it, but he did it anyway. Soft sheets, fluffy pillows, a bar, and as many toiletries as you could stuff into your pockets when you left in the morning. Now that's my kind of survival. I've talked about protection before, and this is going to be the best protection you'll get. It'll keep the weather off, keep the snow off, might keep you warm. Put the convention off. Okay, 4. Now you might have thought about bringing a flask with you, but if you haven't and you've got nothing hot to drink, we'll come back to the bottle of water. No we won't, because I haven't opened the boot or bonnet. Now if you do get stuck, you might be able to help yourself out initially. In the back of my car I've got a bag of salt here, and also the rucksack with some essentials in. This is a collapsible shovel. Takes up very little space, goes together easy. Take 2.